Hi, this is Holly at the Potomac Bead Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beaded spider. These are great with Halloween coming up, and there's also old stories about how people hide these in their Christmas trees at Christmas time. But we're going to show you a quick and easy way to make these, and the materials that you're going to need for these today are 2 beads. You're going to need one that is at least 10 millimeters big or bigger. On here we have at least a 14, and then you'll need something smaller. We have another 8 that's here. You'll also need some 8/0 or 11/0 seed beads, and I'm also using some Swarovski crystals to make the joints in our spider's leg. You'll also need, as you can see over here, some bead caps that are going to go on either side of our largest bead. We're going to need some 24 gauge wire for the legs, and then one 3-inch head pin to put everything together. The tools we're going to need for this project are round nose pliers. We're going to need some flat nose pliers or chain nose pliers, as well as some cutters. And these are all the items that we need to make our beaded spider. So to get started, what you're going to do is you're going to get some 24 gauge wire, and you're going to cut pieces that are about 4 to 6 inches long. Now this particular spider is quite large, so depending on how big your body bead is, you might want to make the legs to be appropriate for that. This one I think would be great for an ornament. You can also scale the beads down and make it into the size as a pendant or a pin. So what you're going to do is cut your wire and try to straighten it out a little bit with your fingers. And then with your round nose pliers, you're going to go right to the center of your wire as close to the tip as you can. And you're just going to wrap that wire. And usually in a wire class we tell you not to do this, but we're going to go the whole way around our round nose pliers until it meets in the back. Try to keep that as tight on your plier as you can, and what you're going to do is come up with something that looks like that. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do that with all of these. Try to get as close to the center as you can of your wire, and as close to the very end of your round nose pliers. And we're just going to go the whole way around, making that as tight around our pliers as we can. And we're going to do that with all 4 pieces of our wire. And in the end, what this is going to do is make our 8 legs. I'm going to keep making our leg sections. We got one more. Just like that. Alright, so we have all of our leg sections done, and if they're a little uneven you can go back in and trim them up so they are even. You can see that I wasn't very accurate there with my midpoint. So from here what you're going to do is take your legs and you spread them open a little bit, and then you come in with your seed beads. And with our model here, I did measure my seed beads. That's totally up to you. I counted those out. I'm a little OCD that way, but that's okay. But measure those out. You try to keep them about the same, and then we're going to go ahead and put those on and then add our crystals to be the joints in the legs. So we'll start out with the size of our beads. Let's go with 6 of our 8/0s. And then we'll put on a crystal. And then 6 more of our 8/0 seed beads. Another crystal. And then finally 6 more of our 8/0 seed beads. Just like that. Okay, so we do have plenty of wire to work with here at the end. I'm actually going to trim that off just a little bit. You want to do about a 1/2 inch. And what you're going to do is come in with your flat pliers. Let me grab those real quick. And we're going to bend this over a 90-degree bend, just like that. And then from here we take our round nose pliers and make a really, really tight loop right on the very end of that. And that's going to be our spider's little foot. So you see that we have that loop there. We're actually going to bend him out now to make him, help him stand a little bit. Okay, and then what you can do is you can go ahead and bend at the joints, right before the joints, just like that. We'll go ahead and do the other side here. And 6 of our seed beads. And like I said, you can try this out with as big of beads as you want, or the smallest, and then you would just adjust the number that you're using accordingly. Oops. One more crystal, and then 6 more. Being a little stubborn here. Alright, and then we want to try to make that as even with the other side as possible, so we're going to go ahead and trim our wire like that. Come in with our pliers, make a 90-degree bend in that, and then make a nice tight loop like that. Back with our flat pliers, we're going to bend that loop out to make our foot, and then bend at our joints. There you go, you got the first pair of legs for your spider. So go ahead and do this with the rest of your 24 gauge wire, adding on the beads and crystals that you need for the legs, and then making those loops at the bottom. Finished all 4 sets of my legs, and I made the little bends in the joints. Don't get discouraged though when we put this together if we have to rebend those, because that is quite the possibility. What we're going to do now is go ahead and put our spider together. And this is where you're going to need your 3-inch head pin, and you're going to need just a few seed beads, your bead caps, and your large and small beads. For mine, I'm going to have to put a seed bead on my head pin first because the hole of my cap is too large. Then we're going to slide the cap on there, the larger of our 2 beads, so this is the body bead. And then we're also going to put the other half of our cap. Okay, so there's going to be the body of our spider. From here, we're going to go ahead and start to put on our legs. But to do this, we're going to put seed beads in between each set of legs to help keep them staying in place. So we're going to put a seed bead, a pair of legs, another seed bead, a pair of legs, until we have all 4 sets on there. Just like that. He's turning out super cute. Can't wait to see what he looks like when he's done. And then we're going to finish with our last seed bead and then our head of our spider. So you can see how he's looking there. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make a wrapped loop with our head pin. We're going to try to keep this as tight as possible because that's going to also help to keep those legs in place. So I've made the 90-degree bend. I'm going to just go back in there and re-bend that. And if you need to try to hold down those beads a little bit to keep your bend, you can do that. So made our 90-degree bend. We're going to come in with our round nose pliers. The larger the loop you want to have, the farther back on the pliers you want to do it. Okay. And then this is where it's really important. We're going to hold on to this loop and wrap as tight as we can because that's really going to keep everything in place. As soon as I can get a hold of my wire there, you can see his legs are twisting around, and we're just going to keep going around like that till we get him nice and tight. That's And then we're going to come in and trim that little piece off. Okay? If you need to, with your pliers, go ahead and pinch down that little edge just to make sure that it stays secure. Okay? So there you have your legs, and your spider is pretty much put together. So now you're going to shape his legs. If you're finding that the legs are moving around or sliding around on that head pin, what you can do is just kind of really pull those legs to tighten it around the head pin and between the seed beads. And then all you have to do is shape his legs however you want them to go. I'll take the back legs towards the back and then just spread out and just play around with it until you get him the way that you want him to be. If your legs are moving too much, like I said, just go ahead and pull that wire kind of tight around the head pin. And if that's not working for you, you can always put a little dot of super glue in there. But once you have your legs the way that you want them to be, then come back in and reinforce those joints by bending them again. And there you have a beaded spider. Super cute, just in time for Halloween and the holidays. This is Holly at the Potomac Bead Company. Thanks for watching. Check out all of our other YouTube videos. And let us know what you think. And we hope to see you soon at Potomac Bead Company.